Okay, so I think we can start now, don't you, Chacho?
I think so. You know, you are the boss.
Okay, so I'm very excited to have Chacho with us today. I met him over 10 years ago, I don't know, like 12 years ago or so, working at Lola, at an advertising agency in Madrid. It was the creative hub of Lola and Partners. And he was the big boss. And but we got to work together, and it's been funny, you know, to follow each other, because we got in touch on, I guess, LinkedIn and social media and so on. And it's been funny, you know, to see each other's paths from advertising, or in Chacho's case, still in advertising, but kind of like giving it a second thought. And I immediately thought about him when I joined Ecolis around 6 months ago, and we were working on the European Day of Sustainable Communities, and I thought, I think this is something that Felicidad Collective could bring. And maybe I'll also give some space for Chacho to make a little introduction.
You want to tell your story a little bit or no?
Venga, I'll tell a little bit of my story. Sorry, I forgot the order. Okay, no, just to say that I used to work in advertising. I think that for me, the 15M in the anti-austerity movement in Spain over 10 years ago, I think that it had a big impact in me. And just to say, you know, like that, all the people around the table, that's when I was living in Sunseed Desert Technology. By the way, I think Ashley from Sunseed, well, yeah, she's there. I was told you would join. Thanks, Ashley. Nice to meet you. That's me living at Sunseed as a communications coordinator. I think that gave me a lot of confidence to actually move to an off-grid place, and that's me putting the solar panels with the help of my partner, who's an engineer. But I was mostly helping. That picture over there on the left, that's me when I was working with Chacho 12 years ago in advertising with a fake tattoo of Lola. And then, yeah, and then this picture this is a picture of a movie I made 2 years ago that's currently on platforms. And just to also share a little bit, like, you know, once you make that mindset, like that change, I feel like a lot of things come with that, and a lot of experimentation comes with that, and a lot of yeah, and also because we're going to touch on storytelling today, so I thought it was nice to also share that I have some storytelling background and promote my movie that you should watch on Netflix. So that's all for me. Chacho, please let all these people know who you are.
Hi, well, hello everybody. I'm Chacho. My name is Horacio, but everybody calls me Chacho, so you can call me Chacho anyway. But it's interesting that I have that two names, because for me it helps me a lot to translate my change in my behavior. I was this guy, Chacho Puebla, who was very successful, win all the awards, and live the typical life of the advertising man, successful man, white man. All the story, I did it so fast that when I was around 38, I was like, what can I do next? I mean, I start to like everything that they say that it's going to bring me joy and happiness didn't came with more money and more power. Just was my ego getting growing. And then I realized that I wasn't Chacho Puebla. I'm Horacio, and I have another things in my head that been around for a long time. So I quit my very, very well-paid job in a very, very comfortable situation. And I was like, I need to change. And that guy that is in the down right corner has a lot to do with it, as long as my wife, which is my partner now also, because they both talk to me a lot and make me reflect on, like, we need that you are using your power for other things, not for what you are doing, which I was very into it, but the money was so much and the ego was so high that it wasn't easy to take the decision. But happily, I met my wife, and she made me these two little daughters that I have now. And I had in my head a conversation, because by that time I was working on Burger King mainly, was one of my biggest clients, and was a very, I don't know, juicy client for all the creative industry because you can win awards with them, and it was really good, and they allow you to do really crazy things. So my daughters had like, I don't know, 6 months, and I imagine a conversation with them in the 2050 when they will be around 30 years old probably, and they will be telling to me what you did to stop this that is happening around us. What was your role here, and how you stop, or how you try to stop what is going on now that I cannot go into the sea. I have to learn to shoot a rifle to get of the people that want to take our food, and I was really into that very bad future, no, that dystopian future, and I couldn't stand it anymore. So I was like, I had to change. And this guy that I will tell you, his name is Gustavo Miranda. But that time he was just working a lot in sustainability. He has a lot of company on that. But then he became the Minister of Environmental in Ecuador. So he was like really pushing me for like, dude, we need your sword on the green side. You have to stop doing what you're doing and stuff like that. And we create Felicidad in a windmill in Portugal. That's why the windmill is there. We started in our house, working with small clients, and we put our effort in like, there is a lot of good people doing a lot of really good things there, but they don't know how to communicate it. They don't know how to make that everybody knows what they are doing. So that's what we create Felicidad, and we are so thrilled to be now here, because you can count with my sword in whatever thing that you need, because I think that we can change the world by communication. So up to you, Maria.
Chacho, no, I'm just gonna say, is that me? I'm seeing like a
Me too.
scratch in red.
Me too. It's like it's a scratch.
Like, but this wasn't there like a minute ago.
No.
What happens?
It's not in the presentation. It's I think it's from Zoom. I'm not using Zoom that much. I think it's
Maybe.
because it's
okay. Let's make it like a sign, like something like it's like our.
I thought it was a marketing trick. I was
there
like,
you go. I did
Oh,
it. I did it.
okay,
I found
awesome.
it.
Interesting.
Beautiful.
Everyone will think, what's happening there?
Beautiful. Thanks,
now
Chacho.
I know that I can write. I didn't know. Sorry.
Okay.
I was joking.
Yeah, okay. So when we talk about, I think the first time I read community-led initiatives, I wasn't very clear on what it meant. And we do have a problem sometimes in terms of communication. When we talk about community-led initiatives, it doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily a term that comes to like, that reflects what it is. So I think first, I would like to talk a little bit about what community-led initiatives are, in case some of you are not that familiar to the term. So I'm just taking from our wiki from the Communities for Future website. And it says community-led initiatives are any form of action undertaken by self-organized groups of people, often but not always living in the same geographical location, to improve their social and environmental conditions. So although we usually focus on, in Ecolis and Communities for Future, we usually focus on permaculture projects, eco-villages, and transition movement. It really is any initiative that comes bottom up and like grassroots initiatives that are able to to make decisions themselves, to make a change in the place that they are living. So it could also be, for example, energy communities. It could be just people being creative and bringing ideas to their neighborhoods. I feel like the term, it could be so broad, and sometimes there's like a chance that community-led initiatives is not that clicking like immediately. So just wanted to provide a little bit of context of what are we talking about when we talk about these physical communities. Even though even in the description of it, it talks about it could be also that it's not necessarily, they are not necessarily in the same geographical space. So this gives the space for our digital community, Chacho, as well, that we will be talking about later. And one, yeah, you can move to the next one. So we have a goal in Ecolis, which is that at least 25% of the European population is engaged in transformative community-led climate action by 2030. And this is a huge goal, even though it's still needs to be defined, I guess, because when we say engaged, what does that mean, right? Like, does that mean we are, you know, part of a community, that we somehow like do a volunteer role occasionally, or that we actually interact with that community somehow on the digital sphere. You know, it still needs some, but what we know is that in order to generate system change, we need people to be involved in their communities, and this is something that we are also working on the 10th thesis. I'm gonna ask maybe Andriano or maybe I think I have the link actually pretty handy. I'm gonna share the 10th thesis on the chat, the link. It's a long document. We are working on a shorter version of it, kind of like a 2-pager manifesto. But I think this is something interesting that we are working on the advocate domain at Ecolis, and that it really touches on the importance of community-led initiatives for transformative development policies. So I'm gonna pass it to you, Chacho, now to talk more about digital communities.
Yes, I mean, I think it's important that we understand that the two worlds. I mean, the physical one, where probably some of you are based, and what you are representing here, and the other one is the digital side. I think that, I don't know, I imagine that some of you are not using digital asset or social media or all of that because it has a lot of health issues. and I know it, and it's great that you are not addicted as the rest. But we need to understand that what you are doing needs to get more attention. Why? Because I'm going to explain why. But I think it's really important that if you detach from the ill part of the society, they will never come to connect to you. You have to do the exercise. They will not do it at all. And I don't know if it's a good exercise, but I wanted to explain, I don't know how you say this in English, but the people that believe that the earth is flat, in Spanish is terraplanistas. I don't know how you say that in English, but I saw a documentary about it because for me it was like fascinating that we are in 2017 when I found them, and there are 50 million people in the world that they believe that the earth is flat. And they have their own thoughts, and why is it? Of course, doesn't work. You know, it's not related to science at all. So they start to question everything. No, they question science, they question the NASA, they question everything. And in this documentary that I saw was a professor from Berkeley, that he explained why they are there and why they are like not connecting with the people that has the truth, the scientific truth. No, and he says because they are very emotional. They get there because they are pushed away from whatever that the society decides to push away. So they get in a very emotional phase. It's zero rational. It's totally emotional. They try to justify that by giving rational arguments, but it doesn't work. So what happened? We, the ones who know that the planet is spheroidal, no, we are the ones who has to get close to them because they can't get close to us. It's totally rejected from them. Why this analogy? Because I think that the people that is living in these different communities, in these sustainable communities, is the one who has to get closer to the society that doesn't understand why you are doing that, how we work. Give me more ideas. Tell me a better story. And that's why I think that it's important that both are connected, and we have to balance the two. So I'm going to start really backward to that all are agree on the same. So I'm going to explain you how I understand an idea.
Just a second before you start this big topic. I just forgot to say, if anyone has a question or a comment or something, please feel free to use the chat, and I'll interrupt Chacho every now and then.
For sure, no,
to bring your questions. So yeah, I wanted to say that before you start with this.
Totally, this will be always better in person than this, and please interrupt me wherever you want. Here, and I think it's interesting to start on what is an idea, on how I define an idea, because there are millions of ways to understand idea. So at least we have a common ground on this. So ideas works very similar like the yin and yang. The idea is not the sum of the two things, of the execution and the concept. It's a third thing that joins together and makes life to a third thing. If you have a concept or an execution, and I explain now what it is, it doesn't mean that you have an idea. You put that two things together, You need something that happened when then they two are together. That's the idea. So what is a concept? I will start for the concept because it's the part of the idea that I like the most. And it's the thought that is behind the point of view that you have about anything. For example, here we're talking about communities. That's what we are here. What is our point of view on that? What is my unique point of view on that? That is a concept. That is going to be a concept. Why? Because it's going to be unique. It's going to come from each one of the person that is developing the concept. And that concept is going to have an execution. What is an execution? An execution is how it looks. Sometimes people, when having ideas, they have the thought on that point of view. So you start to building the idea from the concept. But if you don't have an execution, it's not an idea. It's just an impulse, okay? But it doesn't become an idea until you have an execution. And the other way around. If you have something that, wow, this looks nice, or this is amazing. For example, typical now, AI, no? Wow, I have AI. Yeah, what do you want to say with the AI? What is your idea behind, what is your concept behind? No, look how beautiful it looks. It's an impulse, it's an execution, but it's not an idea. This is really important because a lot of people mix things. I have a line and they think that I have an idea. If they don't have an execution, it's not an idea. And if you have an execution which doesn't have a concept, for me, you don't have an idea. Okay, so you need the two, and the two, it will generate an idea. How that idea, everything agree on that? Any questions on that one? I can explore if you want. If not, we move on. So the next one is like how an idea lives, how an idea moves. And here I will use Harari because for me, he, without probably knowing, he helped me a lot in explaining why creativity is key, why ideas are key. He mainly, in Homo sapiens, what he tells us is like, we are good in two things, human beings. We are different in just two things. One is like, we believe in stories, stories that are fictional. They are not based on truth. We believe in, like, I don't know, money rules the world, or we believe in religion, or we believe in that things, but we invent that thing. That things, if you, he used a lot of the exercise of like, if you say to any animal, take this, you go, it's a paper, you go there and they will give you a banana. They're like, no. It doesn't. It doesn't work for me. We are the only ones who believe stories and live from that stories. I saw a talk for him a couple of weeks ago, really cool, where he said, like, for example, we, I don't know, destroy a coral reef. No, nobody. Oh, it's sad. Nothing happened. But that is true. It's real. The coral reef exists. It's there. You can touch it. You can kill it. It exists there. There is no story around it. It's a physical thing. And we don't care if they are dying. But if I go with a spray can and I spray whatever building that has a story behind, a mosque, I don't know, a church, the FMA, whatever, in that second I'm going to jail. It's a big story. Everybody talk about it. You cannot do that. They put laws that I cannot do that. Why? That it helps us to understand how big we are attached to stories, how much we believe in stories. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is like, we collaborate at big scale. We are the only ones who can really believe these stories on a really huge scale. Imagine, we are all together here, 8 billion people, probably 5 billion people, I don't know, I'm guessing here. We believe in money. We think that money is important. That is a fucking story that doesn't exist. Somebody told us down there, and we keep moving that story. From the 78, we are not correlation between gold and money, so we just believe in the system. That is how we move. And the world moves and lives and goes behind that story, which is not real. This for me is really important that you understand, because stories can really change the world. So an idea is the beginning of a story. And the good thing is like, or the good, I don't know, but we are really addicted to stories. If you're, I think if you're not living in a community, you're living like in the regular society, we are now in a very society that is like, you get up in the morning, you go on the phone, and in your phone, you are following stories from people, from the news, whatever the story they are. You go to work, you go back, and you plug 2 stories. Netflix, whatever. You plug to, you are addicted. Sorry, we are addicted to stories all the time. It's a very demanding thing. It produces a lot of benefit. Why we are addicted to stories? Because, like I said before, they shape our perception of the world. I mean, the way that we understand the world is through stories. Totally, everything is digested into stories. The best way that we have to learn is the best way to we have to shape our culture. It's the way to understand our reality. You know? Also, they are very good to transmit culture. The Americans knows this very good. They are using stories to impregnate their culture globally. We believe that it's our culture too. Why? Because they are telling a very compelling story. Like I said before, is what separates us from other species. When we share stories, it makes us feel be part of a tribe. That is really important also for humans. We are very tribal persons. We here feel like we are in a tribe. We are the ones who are living in sustainable communities. We want to do things different. We hate Sarah. We hate everything that is massive. That story that we are building together is make us that we collaborate and we can build that more up. You know? The story shapes, like I said, or identities. It helps us to cooperate. If the story is good, if the story is empathetic to me, we will collaborate behind that story. Yeah? The more precise of the story, the more sharp on the story, it can more fast change behavior. That's what it says. It can be positive or negative. Right now, we have a lot of power doing a bad story or telling us a bad story. We have to change that with better stories. And again, the stories can create meaning. We can put meaning in anything we want by a story. And again, we can change really the world by telling the stories. I'm mainly in this new world of how to make a world more balanced between the society and the environment and to be a fair society. I think that we need is a better story. We don't have a good story. They are very good dystopian stories that engage everybody, and that's why we are aiming, but we are not good yet to finding which is the new story that everybody wants to join. Sean, what makes a good story happen? That's why we understand how the stories works, and now I wanted to tell you how we make the story succeed. And it's pretty basic what you need, but it's difficult as hell to get. You know? The first one is like you need a compelling idea. You need an idea. Remember what we talk about ideas. We need that idea has something compelling. I recommend novelty. If it's new, it generates an emotion. If it generates an emotion, it generates a memory. If it generates a memory, it stays in your soul, in your body, in your mind for longer. That's why if you see, I'm asking you today, which advertising or word communication you remember today, the majority you will not remember nothing because nothing produced on you an emotion. Why? Because it was the same ads that you have been going and watching for days and months and years. You know? If you see advertising from, I don't know, dishwasher, they're always the same. That's why you never remember. This now is more white. Now with this is more white. And it's that story over and over and over and over and over and over. That's why they have to go to the last, which is repetition and amplification. It's what they do to try to stick to you what they wanted to sell, right? The first one that you need is a compelling idea. The second one is like you need a plot. You need a conflict. If there is no conflict, it will not generate memory. The other day I saw, I couldn't put it here, but I didn't find it a good resolution. But it was a comic that was really funny, that somebody was presenting something to a client, let's say, and the client was saying, yeah, we want that one, the one that doesn't polarize and makes everybody equally uninterested on the story. Because if you don't have friction, you don't have an orgasm. If you don't have friction, nothing happens. If you're like totally perfect, it says everything that has to say, you will forget it. You will never remember. If it's plain, the communication, you will never remember. That's why I'm very against how the UN communicates, because how the UN communicates is like, it never polarized. It never says something that it can tackle somebody or inch somebody. And you have to, if you want to be remembered, if you want a good story, you have to. All the stories in the world has that friction. It's not that I'm saying that you have to have a good one and a bad one. It's not that. You have to have friction. It could be that the bad one is the thing that you have to overcome. It could be yourself, it could be whatever. You don't have to follow the arc of the hero. I'm going here for the branches, so I'm gonna go back to the root. I love what I do so much, so I can be talking of these hours. So the other thing that you need to do in your story, it has to be empathetic. It has to connect with your audience in a way. Even sometimes connecting by saying exactly the opposite works. You know, I mean, if they want to talk about sustainability, you don't talk to sustainability. You talk exactly the opposite. Sometimes that works because understand the needs, understand the pain, and just by reframing it, you can get the conflict or the engagement. The other thing, it has to be simple. Stories has a very linear, simple line. It's not complex at all. I all the time use this exercise, how they sold the idea of Finding Nemo to Pixar, how the guy sell it to them, because the guy was like, you have a minute to tell me your pitch. What is your pitch? And the guy says, it's like Bambi under the water. He was like, he explained Nemo in one sentence, you know? He was knowing that he was talking with somebody that knows about cartooning, so he has the empathetic. And what he says is like very short and very simple. It's like Bambi under the water. You like it? Yes. Then I can continue explaining. You don't have to put all the information in the same post, in the same video, in the same title. That is a very common mistake in communication. No, but we have to say this. Yeah, we have to say that too. But we have to say this too. Don't forget this. Don't forget the hashtag. Don't forget the logo. Don't forget it. That what you're doing is like you're killing in that second your story. You're dead. In that second is dead. If it's information and a lot of information, it's dead. There is something that I use a lot to explain how communication works, and it has to do with the new media communication, but it's by clicks. So first you have to have a clickbait, or you have to have something that people want to click more. If you don't get that, forget it. They will not go into the next of the conversation. You have to have a catch. When you have the catch, the people want to do click. And the second click, you start to explain a little bit more. If they want to know more, third click. And deeper on that, on clicks, on sentences, on different places than as we will see now in the narrative. But it's really important, simple, and the next one, short. Everything has to be short, very short, because you don't have time. The persons the ones who you are communicating, they are doing other things. They are worried about their life. They're wanting to see the series. They want to go at 3. They want to sleep. They want to go to eat, whatever. They are on the other way. We're interrupting their life. So we have to really short. It's like, how can I? It's that thing. And it's like, okay. And then you go. If it's not, you are there. And the last one, really important, you have to make that sticks. How do you make that sticks? You have to repeat all the time and try to amplify that story. It's really important, because a lot of people that, when I came to the sustainable world, one of my questions was like, why the communication is so bad? Why the communication of the solutions, not on the communities? It's the first time that I'm working with communities, but the solution, the sustainable solution, whatever. And I have this, I don't know, this cup, which is made from fecula, from potatoes and blah, 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 blah. Why the communication is so bad? Because they was like, no, because the solution is really good and people will use the solution. No, we don't work that way. We are totally emotional. We are not rational at all. If we would be rational, we would not be here. We will not have the problems that we have. It's totally emotional, the problem. So we need to engage emotional with the persons. We need to connect with them on the emotional side. So now that we have a story, let's build our narrative, okay? Because a story is one thing and narrative is a second thing. What is a narrative? A bigger thing. It's not just the linear story that you say. It's what else you can add to communicate the story that you want to say. So you use other techniques as well. Like if you have, for example, a video, you can add photos, you can add social media, you can add posts, you can add other things. That it will help you to that you understand how what you are doing speaks, the tone, the voice. It's very similar to a person. For example, now for the majority of you, you never see me before. I tell you the story in the beginning of my life, wasn't enough, then I'm building my narrative. The more that I'm talking with you, the more I'm adding elements that you know me better, that you have a better comprehension of who I am, what I'm doing, and what we're going to do here. That is narrative. The narrative is key because sometimes narrative is silence. Sometimes narrative is just saying something in the right moment. And that adds to your story, adds to that the idea that you are portraying, the idea that you want to communicate to the society works because you are giving more substance to that idea. You are generating a narrative. There is a really good book that I recommend that is not here. It's from, I don't forget, team something. I forgot the name now. I all the time have it in my head. It's called How to Write to Save the World. It's really good because the guy tell the story. It's an Extinction Rebellion for free. If you Google it, it's a PDF. Really good book. And the guy, I'm just making a sneak preview. The guy explains that he's a very good coach for writers. He teaches really good writers how to write. So one day he's giving a course, and a group from Extinction Rebellion came to see him. Like, we want that you teach us how to write, like, for Hollywood. And he was like, why? Why you come to me? And he was like, because we try everything and nothing works, and we want to understand how Hollywood works, because Hollywood's put the solutions there. So he explained that in our head, we have a narrative that has been bombarding, I said 70 years, 80 years, of a narrative of the hero. One person embarks in a journey, and that journey, sometimes he mingled with another one. Looks like he's gonna make it, he doesn't make it. And the end, he starts to do the last run, and he make it. In the last 10 minutes, he solved the problem. That comes from the Greek, from Deus Ex Machina, where it's like, in the last moment, God is gonna solve everything. We have that narrative in our head. So when we are confronting a problem, the majority of the society knows that, or has in the back of the head, that a hero is gonna give the solution. We have to break that. We have to break, because it's not true. It's not going to happen. So that explains you how important is the narrative and how important is to make all that story very compelling to the rest. Okay, any questions? I'm talking so much, I'm talking so fast.
No. I was just thinking about the hero that you were talking. We were discussing at the editorial board of the 10th thesis. I think Kate was in that conversation as well. And we were as well talking about how can we make people become the hero, like feel relate to the hero, right? Like, and I would like to hear your perspective on that.
I think you don't have to tell them to be the hero. If you see what they are doing, I'm watching this very closely since the last, I don't know, 6 years or 5 years when I started my change, no? And if you see the last videos or the last movies from everybody, from Marvel, from Disney, from the big, they are working on that really hard. If you see, a lot of times it's a group, it's not anymore one person. And if one person, that they try to undermine that person and try to get the same protagonism, that is a really good thing. It's a book that is called the Hero of the 1000 Faces. That book is the one who influenced in Hollywood in the 50s, because a guy, of course, a producer, really greedy, from all the book that says a lot of things, he took one page, and that page he sent it to a memo to all the Hollywood industry saying, this is the structure that we need to use for movies, because it worked globally, and it's what they have been doing so far. So what I'm telling to you how to engage is, like, we have to find new ways on, like, there is no a hero, it's a group of people solving a problem, and it's not this or this, it's a mix all the time, it's a sum. We have to think more environmentally, no environmental, no, ¿cómo se dice? Ecosystem wise, rather than linear. We have to think more circular instead of linear. We have to change that narrative all the time, all the time. That's why what we're gonna see is like, it's not about you, it's about us. You're not alone, we are a bunch. Join the group, be part of it. I mean, I think it's like everybody can do it, everybody can some. Your little bit is gonna be a lot. That is how we are approaching it all the time. We did, when we started a long time ago, we did something that was called al menos es hacer algo. I don't know how it's that in English. It's like, at least I'm doing something, something like that. It's an Instagram account. And that was really easy. Like, look, not buying this, at least it's doing something. And it was really good. People really, I don't know, I think we have like, I don't know, 6,000 followers, something like that. Just by saying, regular people, hey, one thing at a time, one thing at a time. It's already good, Also, going back to the Earth Flatters. Earth Flatters was the name. Going back to the Earth Flatters, you will not change the Earth Flatters believing that the Earth is flat, round in one day, in one line. It's not going to happen. You have to really accept that. We are not going to change the global narrative with one campaign, with one thing. It's a sum of millions of small things and change all the time. So we have to help people to understand that they have to think that way, that they are planting trees, that they will not see the shadow. That thought is what we have to bring on the table. I have a personal, sorry, this is, you made me talk. I have a personal thesis, and it's like, humanity and humans are not the same. They don't want the same. They need each other, but they don't want the same. Humans just love humans. They don't care about humanity, but they need humanity. And humanity is not about the individual one who wants to excel. They want that all the humanity goes to a place, right? But they need humans. They need the ones who are very selfish. So both we have to understand and talk the two sides. Well, I think that we don't talk. The humanity sometimes is like, yeah, I don't care your whatever, your freedom, how you wanted to call it, the humanity. And humans are like, yeah, we can live without humanity. No, both cannot, they need to coexist. So everything that goes in that direction, I think it gives us a chance in the future. My point of view, of course. So continuing on the on the narrative, again, you can start, let's say, with one thing. You have a website. This is the basic in digital. No? If you don't have a website, it's impossible that you're a digital website. So one thing. If you keep adding elements on the narrative, your communication, of course, is going to be stronger. Our communication, of course, is going to be broader. It's going to get to more people. Your message is going to spread more dispersed. So you start. Website is the first thing that you can do. Just try to add a video. If you try to add a video, videos is how we consume information today, is how we consume stories, much more than reading. We consume video. So if you can do videos, do it. It's better. And now with the AI, there are millions of tools that you just put the text, and the text is going to make you a video. That video is going to work better than whatever text that you put. So try to do that. If you add a video, use it on social media. You have to have your social media active, and we'll talk about that a little bit. And plus that, you do live things. I mean, you connect with reality. We call it in the advertising world offline. If you do things that are offline, like they are not online, that is also better, because things that are offline usually works really good in the online. If you have an event, for example, if you record that event and you put it online, more people is going to see it online than the people that was in the event, for sure. So it's really good that you can try to interact both. Okay. Here's an example of how you could use, for example, for Ecolive, the social media. They don't have all the social media. I don't recommend that you use them all. We will see it later. But it's an example. It's really good that you have, which is your platform. What's going to be the main message? Not all the channels does the same. Even, for example, in Instagram, you have different kind of using Instagram for different kind of approach. For example, if you want to do a statement, it's better to do a post. If you want to tell about something that is live, you do live. If you want to have a longer format, you use a reel that give you a lot of reach, because reels are really good to that the people discover you. If you have a story, it's that you you get inside what is going on. It's like the behind the scenes. So if you want to share the behind the scenes, you can do it on story. So that is just one platform. In Instagram, you have all that kind of approaches to it. But now I will go to some of them that you understand. For example, Instagram, a message will be inspiring. No, why? Because Instagram has that idea that everything that you say, you see there is like perfect or idealizing. Instead of using it for promoting, I don't know, anorexia and shop, we can use it to promote our way of living. We have to use it in the other way. It's the same tools. We can use it as we want it. We can use that tools to promote other way of living. The same with Twitter. Twitter, for example, is very political. If you are not in a political realm, I don't recommend it. It's very aggressive. It's very difficult to have a conversation there. So I don't recommend to have conversation on Twitter unless that you're related to politics or by anything that you have, you need to use it. But for example, in Twitter, what they want to do is like, it's very good for communities, but communities are hate. I will recommend others communities that probably are less hateful. Like Facebook, for example. Facebook it's a more calm community right now. It's where people, especially older people, spend time there and they really engage with it. Younger people, they don't go there anymore. LinkedIn is really good. It's a social network that I highly recommend it to you because it connects you with your arch enemies, I guess, which is like the hard other way of seeing society. No, it's the people that is in another mindset. I see it myself because I was there and now I moved to a more sustainable approach, and I see the difference, and I see how I impact in my previous industry and in my previous life, and it has a lot. It makes a lot of damage in the good side, in the good sense, the damage. I receive a lot of people that write me like, how can I join? How can I participate? How can I be part of it? How can I like what you see, because we speak the codes of LinkedIn. I mean, we understand how they talk, so we talk about how they talk, but about what we wanted to talk. Huh? YouTube is really good to explain stuff. I mean, like to have videos on how things works. I think for you as a group of communities is key. I would love to see a lot of things from what is happening in the communities, how you do it, how you live, what happened there. You know, one of the main things that I said to Maria when we started to work is like, I read a lot of the things that you do and they're amazing, but I couldn't find nothing on the internet. Nothing. We did 67 events. I didn't find a photo of one of them, or maybe a photo full of text, and I couldn't find it. So I highly recommend that you share to the world what you're doing. And YouTube, for what you do in a lot of things, is key. I think it will drive you a lot of people that they will go searching how to do what you do, and they will find you there, and they will be for sure part of the community, and for sure they're going to be part of the people that you want to convince to change the way that they live. Pinterest, for example, is also really easy. It drives crazy amount of traffic to websites. It's really good to connect good looking things to your website. Like, I guess that the people that is the people that is in Pinterest that are very focused on sustainability, creativity, beauty, nature, they love that. I mean, they search all the time that you are all of that. You are creativity, you are sustainability, you are beauty. You are not there. You have to. And you have to tell the people that find you, they find the things that you do. TikTok, I'm not fan, but it's a really good platform to engage with younger generation, especially for challenges and for get awareness, because a lot of young people use it. And Reddit is something really interesting for me, because Reddit is started as like a really nerd platform, like for people that really like coding and hidden stuff and like more hacking kind of approach, but slowly has become more a platform from discussions, from community, really good. And if you want to know something before than anybody, you don't have Twitter, you can go to Reddit and you have information right away. And it's really easy to interact with it, and it's growing a lot. And I think it will be more your style than other networks too, because they like to go really deep in the conversation. There is no conversation, like for example in Twitter, that is like, I hate you, and that's it. There is no, here is like, I hate you because of this. And they go, no, you're not agreeing this. They love to write deeper in the communication. So I really recommend it to use it.
Chacho, I see if you go back to the
Yes.
the social media platforms, I see Susie, who by the way is a national contact point for the EDSC as well. She writes Mastodon. She asks if anyone's using it. I don't know Mastodon, but yeah, I'm curious if Susie, maybe if you would like to share. I don't know if it's more related to sustainability, or I have no idea, but if you would like to share a little bit about Mastodon, I'd be happy to hear.
Sure, just very quickly. It's basically was a smallish platform. It has a country-specific instance that is like a community platform, I suppose. And it took off when all the trouble started with Twitter and Elon Musk. And in Ireland, we're finding it's a really mix of across several of these platforms. It's quite mixed age. It's a little bit like what you described Facebook as, but it's not owned by the giants. It's more cooperative, I think. I'm not sure exactly the structure of ownership, but it's not a massive multinational. So it drove a lot of people to it. There's much more people on Twitter. It will always probably be on those big platforms. So whether it's the edge that you're talking about of going and talking to flat earthers or not, but it is a really interesting, you know, to see the different groups and different threads and so on that are showing up in Mastodon. It's a very, so far the atmosphere there is very different than other social media.
I will go on it. I think it's a really good example. This one also to discuss one point that I think is key in the communication sustainability, which is like there is a lot of people that they are really convinced. You don't have to convince them. I mean, they just have to make them that they don't feel alone. That's the only thing that you have to do. There are other people that they don't know. They really don't know. I'm surprised about how many really informed persons or really connected person, they don't know what's going on at all. And they're like, yeah, it has something to do with the oceans rising, right? And everything's going to be more hot. It's as far as they get, you know. And I think it's good that we explain to them in the way that they speak what we are doing. I mean, if I heard somebody, I think it's like high 8, something like that, which is also a new platform, and they pay you for using it with crypto. So the ads that they are there, they pay you to use it. So also there are all the time appearing new platforms. You have to understand if that platform you are using it to engage with your community that you already have, or you are using it to spread the word to other places that the people don't know you. You have to choose that. You have to do both, because you have to have the community engaged. But sometimes your community probably is on a WhatsApp group or in a Telegram group, and that's it. And you just keep that alive and it will work. You don't need to be on social media to say the same that you're doing there, you know. And but in the other ones, you probably need to spread the word. That is what we're going to show you now. And I think we are shorter on time. Sorry, I speak too much. So like I said, use the right ones. Don't use all of them. If you cannot commit to a website, a social network, don't use it. Don't use it just to be there and with no action. If you don't have people that can be behind communicating and moving it, don't go there. Go to YouTube that has a less interaction. Do something one-off, but don't have a Twitter that doesn't move. Don't have a Mastodon that doesn't move. Don't have a Reddit that you don't interact with. Don't do it. It's going to hurt you more than it's going to leverage. Or explain in the headline, this account is just to accept inquiries or to interact, but it doesn't have a constant movement. For example, if you go to our Instagram in Felicidad, we just have, I think, 9 posts. That's it. We will never have more. we will be changing their tags and things, the people that work, the clients that we work with. And if you want to more about us, follow us, the individual persons. You know, and that's what we wanted to do in Felicidad and Instagram. We don't have Twitter, we don't have a lot of things because we don't have the time to use it. And we know that doesn't work. So now finally, let's go to the day of the communities, no, so the sustainable community. Sorry, my head is not. So our idea is gonna be join the big table, and the concept behind it is like, why we don't get all together? I think we should celebrate that we are all on the same table. And tables for me are key on the sustainable world because it's where things happen. You know, I mean, in a table you think, in a table you work. Tables for me are for people that make things happen. Chairs, but tables, yes. I mean, if you have a table, it's like something is going on. So what we want to do is like, let's join to the big table. The big table is like the community table. Maria, you wanted to say here something about the other table that probably we're going to join?
Yeah, maybe just to say that this is the EDSC campaign, and then it's all about the celebration, and that was the briefing for them, for Felicidad. But also that after this idea came, we were like, oh, well, actually, we could link the big table of celebration with the big table where policymakers sit and make decisions, right? So I think like that's how we are gonna link this Join the Big Table from EDSC with a policy event in November, and trying to keep the same concept so that it kind of like links both campaigns. I'm excited to keep working on this second bit, but today we'll go into the EDSC. Thanks, Chacho.
Okay, so that is our concept. That is join the big table. In the execution, it's gonna be, we're gonna have a video. I'm gonna play it now.
Okay, I'm gonna also say that we worked with, while you figure out how to do the something, we worked on the original script of this video with the national contact points. And then we realized we were missing a piece, which was like the digital campaign, and we needed a concept, and we needed to bring it stronger to the digital realm. So a lot of the work that we did on the script of the original script is now on the toolkit on how to participate, explaining what EDSC is. I already updated it on the website, so you can check it. I didn't update the video yet, but I will after the session because I wanted a little bit of of mystery. But yeah, just to say that it's evolved from a co-creation to like blending it into the concept with Felicidad, no?
There you go.
You have changed.
You changed the way you buy.
You changed the way you move.
You changed the way you eat.
And guess what? You
Are
not
alone. People across Europe are building vibrant communities.
reimagining our societies to tackle the ecological emergency.
Let's celebrate them by inviting everybody to a grand connected communal table.
Join us at the celebration, going to communitiesforfuture.org.
Want to see it again? The last one. And now you can
So
see
short,
all the...
it's short, definitely. I also have to say I'm very proud that the audios we got to make them with in collaboration with Sunset Desert Technology. So yeah, I'm glad that we could have that, like the real voices. If now we don't have the real images because we need to build that image bank, and we will get there at some point.
It's what I wanted to say. I mean, we would love that we are not using bank images and like trying to steal images from all over the place, that they are real ones, but we don't have them. We need that you do better images, and we want to, it's one of the projects that I hope that we do one day. That's like how we can go there and gather these images, because these images is what I can have these images if I go there. Just I don't have it. I don't have the quality. Some of the footage there is from my life. I mean, the last ones were the photos of my daughters, because I needed to to have the real look. You know, I don't want the artificial one. And the good way, the good news is like right now society doesn't like very fake things. Or they're ultra fake or they're real. They don't like the middle. The middle is like, eh. So we need to go into the real, but with the style. I mean, with a really good style. Why they have to look bad? I mean, why they don't have to look beautiful? Why they don't can have a cool style, the style that engage with the rest of the society? Now, if I see this video, I'm like, I'm interested. I want to know more about what is this. This makes sense for me. Like not coming from a sustainable community. You want to see it again or go to the next one? Go to the next one because I think we don't have time. No.
Venga, and then I'll update the website soon, so then people can go
Okay,
back
watch it
and watch the video on the website.
Right. So the idea is like I was saying, building the narrative. What we're gonna do is like we're gonna have this video. This video is gonna invite people to go to the website. In the website, we will tell them that we want photos from them. Photos doing what? Celebrating on a big table. I mean, the idea is like we have these kind of photos, better on other ones, with good quality that we can use to show a huge table of the community of all the different sustainable communities that there are in Europe, like as if we will be all together. If we have that photos, we can create that sense of like we was all together that day, even though if we wasn't in separate places. If we will have videos from that, it will be even better. But we have, because we know that it's very difficult that the people engage and they follow the things and do click. We say that everybody's going to do it, but in the end, nobody do it, and we have to have this material. We do it very simple. We didn't want it to have any complex mechanism. So it's, first, you have to upload your video to your social media, and you will share the images that you have that you had in your meal. We will choose from. We cannot put all of them. I hope that we have a lot and we're going to use all, but we are guessing that we will get some. And with the ones that we're going to get, we choose the best ones. The best ones are going to go on the video. And then we will share that video again. Sorry. We will share that video again at this new video in September 23rd. Okay. But that is not going to be all. We also.
Maybe just to say as well, Chacho, that we will not get into this now, but on the website as well, I'm gonna share the link here. There is a toolkit that we've prepared for the campaign that explains step by step how to participate. The idea of this workshop is to have this only as a reference, case study and as a reference. We don't need to go that deep, but you can go on this link that I just shared, and I'll have the video soon in here. But at the moment, you can see a button that says how to join the big table, and I invite you as well to go through the whole toolkit and see how to participate. Okay,
so in the visuals, we also wanted to change a little bit the colors and the forms, that we can be more contemporary with the kind of visuals that the people that are in social media see. So for example, this is for Instagram, WhatsApp, from some Facebook stories. And what we can do is like we can tackle in each of the themes that we saw in the video. So you change the way you travel. Now it's time to celebrate, organize a shared meal. I can explain you what to do it regarding to the way you travel, then the way you buy, the way you eat. But also we can have other approaches. All of it's the same story. I'm just trying to add different elements from the narratives that you can really fill the gaps and have a coherent and a big narrative in your head about what we do and what is going to happen. So for example, this is another approach, but it's like if you feel that you are the only one who is doing this, you are not. We are these days celebrating blah, 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 blah. So that helped. I'm going fast because I think we don't have time. So we
but we have until yeah, but people, yeah, go.
wasn't just that
it's until past.
Okay, just 1 second. Sorry, I need to really pick up 1 second.
Okay. This, I'm just gonna take the opportunity to say that this material that he's showing at the moment
sorry.
will be shared in September from us to go. So the idea is that we start gathering all these pictures that Chacho was talking about that we are missing. Then in September we will be launching more of a public campaign. On the 23rd, we will be sharing this collage with all of these tables together.
Photographies, yes. It's gonna be a video collage. So I'm saying these ones, and again, other format. If you see, they have a different aspect on purpose, that you understand that it's a broader thing and not just one thing. It's like the simple message, but like repeating it and having different executions of the same concept. So for example, if you feel like you are not the only one fighting against climate crisis, you are not. If you feel you are the only one taking care of the future of the children, you are not. So they're like thoughts that it can be plug in person that like, wow, yes, true. So what I want to know more. And then I click, and of course in the description of the post is going to be more. Probably it's going to be a link to the video. It's what Maria was saying that we will show you precisely. But I wanted that you understand what I'm saying of like, okay, we have the idea of the table, and the table has an execution. It's a video, and in the video tells you you are not alone. We are a lot of people. Let's celebrate that you are not alone, that we are all seated on a big table. That is the execution and the idea behind. And then you have the narratives, like how I'm telling this. I'm using a video, I'm using an invitation to an activation that is going to be offline, because we are not going to transmit it online. We're just going to have the captures. That is going to be another piece of communication that is going to come later and in the time. So you are, instead of having just one shot, you are building a narrative on like around a big table, communities gathered around a big table to promote a new way of living, or a different way of living. So that's what we're trying to achieve with this approach. So, and that's how that's how you. It's very simple. It's very basic. Of course, we don't want to use it complicated, because you are a lot of stakeholders and more complex to have like another kind of campaign. But I think this is a really good first step. And we continue working together. For sure, you will see how this can evolve every year, and new approaches and new ideas can come. But everything is gonna build the same narrative that we wanted to say. Like, there is another way of living. I mean, we can change the way that we live. We can do it. I mean, look how we did it. And if that is contagious, we can really change society. So, as a final reminder is, you need an idea first, with a concept and execution. Then that idea has to be embedded in a story that needs to have a narrative, not just a story, a narrative that is like how you make that story bigger, what other touch points you add, what other elements you add. Making a projection of your story is already amplifying the narrative. Having a press release is already adding the narrative. Putting posters on your community or near your community is amplifying the story. Sending WhatsApp messages is narrative, is amplifying the story. So the narrative is key, that the message can scale. That is the left one. If you do all the things, you are changing behavior. It's what we do in advertising. We change behavior all the time. In a bad way, I wanted to do it in a good way now. But the tools really work. Really, really work. It's really magic in one way. If you do that, the people really start to think different and tend to change what they do. They need the story to follow. They need the story to follow. So, any questions? I'm more calm now also.
Wow, Chacho, yeah, it's been super intense, but I think it was wonderful to see your energy and your ideas and your ways. Yeah, like I think it's wonderful to see how these two different worlds merge at some point, and I think it's needed in a way. I think like there's a lot of lack of communication background in some of the nonprofit organizations that work around sustainability issues, and I feel that we were talking about this when you first presented to us, and you were saying like we need to speak a language that they understand. They are bombarded by images and videos and so, but created by companies that they want to be like create products to be consumed, but there is a language, and we need to sometimes be able to use the same language so that they can relate. So thanks a lot, first, Chacho, for this presentation that I really liked, and I would love to hear from other people about their questions. I see Adriano. Okay, maybe Adriano, who's also been part of, he's collaborating on a temporary basis with Ecolis, and he's been also working on the EDSC campaign. So Adriano, what would you like to say?
Well, I've been working for quite some time in marketing and campaigning, and this has been a very, very inspiring session. It's been a few years since I've learned something new. And today I've learned a few new stuff. Thank you for this presentation today, and thank you for all the work you've put so far. And we're looking forward for more. And I just want to say that it was a great idea. Maria knows, and many other people in Ecolis know that we've been working in our heads, which ideas can we bring on the table to suggest to people how to celebrate and so on. And when the idea about joining the big table came in, I just thought that this is so simple and this is so engaging, and the message behind it, it's so suitable for Ecolis and for the for communities for future and for what the CLIs do. This is a great way to get into the new era of EDSC. And I additionally was thinking, I'm in Cyprus and I want to make some communities engage with the network, and I had issues on how to approach them and what I would tell them what to do. And I thought that yes, EDSC would be a great chance. And now we've joined the big table. It's an amazing chance because we're ready to do these kind of tables. We're gonna share them, and we're gonna be part of a community and inspire each other.
Thanks, Adriano. Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for sharing, Adriano. I'm gonna ask Carlos.
Hello, and thank you so much, Chacho, for this really inspiring presentation. I feel like I learned a lot. But I had a question about maybe more technical about what's your approach to making stylistic choices in terms of color and font and all that, because obviously this is really nice layout and it's very stylish. But I also wonder how is taken by sometimes communities who this kind of style feels much more of an advertising and marketing, and they might not feel related to that. So what's your approach to that?
I mean, you hit the sweet spot, because one of the things that when I started to work in sustainability struck me a lot was like they communicate in a way that is not how the big society, the majority of society communicates, but they want to change the majority of the society. That's why, again, the earth flatters is a good example. You have to make the earth flatters understand you, but you have to speak their language. If you don't speak the language, they will never connect with you. I mean, when I was inside the advertising, I hated, but I totally hated. I mean, Maria can knows it when we're together all the time. For me, it was like a double thing in my head, because I saw the worst of the humanity, but at the same time, the potential that what they do. I mean, they really have scale huge, and they really change the world like that. So in the beginning, I was like, I'm gonna hate them. I was like a Marxist, and I'm gonna attack them. And I understood that this is the image that I understood. It's the way how I've been changing one by one some of them. It's like they are coming to you're in a big corporation, so you see all the manifestants in the door, all the activists in the door screaming, we don't like it what you do. And they come in their limousine, right? Shield limousine, black limousine. And they're like, and they open the window like this. And you're like, I hate you, you have to, and they do this. They don't listen to you anymore. What they do is like, they listen to people that is inside the limousine. They really think it. And if you say something there that can change their mind, they will change their mind, because they respect you. They're like, oh, okay, you speak my language. Okay, so I understand. And you can say exactly what they're saying outside. You're going to do exactly what they're saying. It's just that you say in the language that they understand. So you connect with them. And they're like, oh, I never thought that way. That you have an example. I work, my company does a lot of communication and a lot of consultancy. When I work with people, I never speak, I'm gonna save the world, we're gonna build a better society. No, I said, you're gonna make a lot of money. You're gonna make a lot of money. And they're like, really? Yes. First, you have to measure your CO2 emissions. That's the first step. When you measure it, you will reduce it. So you will reduce money in that second because you're going, oh, I never know. And then they start to engage. So it's really important that we understand that it doesn't matter at the end how we communicate and the things that we like. We have to connect with the other persons, the person that want to listen our message. We have to, like I said, empathize with them. So I can speak with whatever community and I can explain them why having a communication that is just related to that community internally could be good, but externally you have to change it. Externally you have to change it because at least that you want to create a society just for you and you want to don't participate with other society. Yes, then you whatever you want. But if you want to be connected with society, with the majority of society, we have to speak the language. And I think that here is a huge potential to change because they will not understand it. Another example, in Lisbon, if you are in Lisbon, take a look. It's called broderia. You go to broderia, you enter broderia, and you are like, wow, this is a amazing coffee and like a working, and there's a bookshop, super design, everything beautiful like the Portuguese does. When you are there and you are seated at the coffee and taking a book to start to read, everything is Catholic. It's a Catholic movement, totally Catholic, but you never notice until you are inside, sitting and consuming. There, they are like, this is what we believe, and they sell you that. But how they make that everybody gets in that place, and that place is in all the guides from Lisbon to watch. They do a very good job. They understood that they cannot go with the cross and like, this is Jesus Christ coming. No, you will reject that. But if you go there and you don't see any cross, you don't see any Jesus, you don't see nothing, you see what you want to see in that places. When you are inside, they tell you what they want to sell you. It's what they do. They have done this for 2,000 years, so they know how to do it.
Yeah, I think there's also like a difference between, and I think like this challenge came as well, like on the target groups, right? Like, okay, we are speaking to communities, but we are also speaking to citizens that are just interested in sustainability issues. So that's challenging sometimes because I think like you can be more using the language of citizens, like the general consumerism language when you're addressing individuals. Because when you're addressing communities, it gets like this resistance, right, to this kind of language. So
you know what, sorry to expand a little bit there before Sarah goes, but I think it's important. There is a rejection to marketing and advertising as if that is bad. That is a tool. You can use the tool as whatever you want. I'm telling you how the tool works, and I'm not using that tool anymore to make you buy things that you don't need. What I was doing it before, and I do is really successful. I make you buy a lot of ice cream. I make buy a lot of burgers. You buy a lot because I make you do so. So if I just change the thing that I'm selling, I can make that work too. Really, I know how it works. And it's not, that is also another mistake that a lot of people do. It's like, I don't like this because this is not that you like it, you don't like it. This works. This combination of work in your head produce an effect. The organization produces an effect. The typography that I use produces an effect. Everything that is here has been thought to make you engage, to make you change your behavior. And you're like, no, that is bad. It's what the others are doing. You want to fight this with a spoon? Good. The others are using nuclear weapons. You choose. Of course, not in that sense, but you understand the analogy. Huh? So what I'm trying to tell you is like, I have a really good sword and I'm giving it to you. Who wants that I go? who do you want that I fight? Just tell me and I will do it. But let me use mine. No, don't change me and put me a spoon because you have been doing that and didn't work.
Sarah has as well been part of the EDSC project campaign, and I see your hand raised. So. Sarah, you're muted.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Chacho, for this mini workshop. I really want to review it. Go back to this again. And I also have a technical question. I was just curious on when you present how to put a story, how to set up a story, and then you have the emotional side and then the conflict. And I immediately thought of my the advertisement that I have as a memory for me. It's nice, sounds like.
Yes, I didn't hear the word that you say it comes to me. It probably is because you are not plugged. Better.
So I immediately thought, okay, so what is the advertisement that I have as a memory that stick my memory?
Mhm.
And then I couldn't find that other ingredients of conflict. And maybe it's not something literal, but if you can expand a bit on that.
For sure, for sure, for sure. I mean, conflict means that, for example, if I tell you, buy this phone, 99 cents, there is no conflict there at all. I mean, it's like, it's an information, just put the information. If you show you what we are doing, for example, if you feel like you are the only one fighting against climate crisis, you are not. The conflict is, I feel alone fighting the climate change. I don't want to feel alone. That is the conflict. You are not alone. I'm solving the conflict. You are not alone. Here we are. But the conflict, I'm talking to you about it. I'm putting it very straight. Like, there is a problem that you feel that you are the only one fighting this, or you believe that you just change for nothing because nobody is going to do it. There are several things in the back of your head when I'm saying this, and it resonates with the person that is doing it. The persons that, for example, myself, that I'm not living in a community, but I have the mindset, I'm like, oh, and probably like click and I know more about this. There is also something that we didn't talk about here, which is also important, probably we should include it, is the funnel of change, let's say, because there is the funnel of purchase in advertising. But the funnel of purchase is like, not everybody is in the same place. For example, if I said to you, again, this iPhone, 100 euros, you just bought an iPhone or you just bought a phone, you will not buy another one of 500 euros. That is not you are not going into because it's an offer. So what that means, if I send you an ad to you that says buy an iPhone at 500 euros, and you just bought one, doesn't matter what I say, you will not buy it. That means that you're in the funnel, you are very far away. But right now we can know where the people is on the funnel. So when we are starting as a community, what I will do is like, first, let's talk with the person that already have the mindset, but they're not living in communities. So they're the first ones that are gonna jump on this campaign because they're gonna be like, oh, they are really having the change, and they probably are gonna be or ambassadors to tell the second one on the funnel. But let's talk first with the person that they are already near the idea of living in communities or understanding what is about sustainability. They're already there. So it's more easy to understand this pain or this conflict. Because if, for example, I put this post near to Shein ad, it will not, or Primark, it will not work because you're in another mindset. You are like in Primark, I need to buy something every week. What are you talking about? Like, I didn't change nothing. I don't understand you. And you can't connect with them directly. You can't. For much that you try, you will never. You probably in 2 years you're gonna convince them, but not now. No, and don't suffer if that doesn't happen because it's good. Okay.
That's we also get a lot of discussions around addressing citizens as a target group because we are like, sometimes we feel that we don't have the resources to do so. And I'm wondering, what's your point on that? Like, do you feel it's like a waste of time in a way? Like,
depends. I mean, I'm the depend guy in general because it depends. Depends when, why, for what. I mean, for example, if you have an open day or an open door of the community, you need to embrace the community. That's the role that they come to your community, so that you have to tackle normal citizens. But for example, for this celebration, I think you have to talk with the people that is already involved in celebrating that they are not alone. I mean, I will join. And I think a group of people that is on my head, probably they will join. I think these persons are the first target group. The other ones, it will depend on what you are aiming to. For example, that idea, the editorial idea that we're talking, that for me is a really good tool to talk to citizens about what is going on, or other ideas that we can talk. It depends all the time. It's not that easy.
Okay, thanks a lot. I don't know if there's, I'm just gonna let one more question because we only have 5 minutes. If someone would like to make a question or a comment or a reflection, please jam. I also want to, in the meantime, while someone has the last question, I hope, I'm also like, we're having this workshop today about digital communities, and it's like, obviously, and this is something, it feels a bit challenging for me as well, like how can we make, how can we behave when we are in a digital community, how can we really behave as a physical community, in the sense that we feel we belong, that we feel that we are there to support each other, that we are making connections, that we are learning from one another. And I feel like here's the challenge for this campaign, and I'm really putting a lot of expectations on it. And Duncan, for example, he's on social media and on the Communities for Future channels, and I know he's on it as well, and we will all be trying to be on the same boat. But at the end of the day, it's like we need everybody, trying to become part of the idea, to make the idea themselves, and hopefully to get somewhere, because I feel that that's challenging as well. Like you launch the whole thing, but there's a lot of, I think the first part for me is like enjoying the process, like to me, it's like, if I feel the passion of this campaign, if I had fun doing it, if I enjoyed, I feel like I will be able to share that passion to the others as well,
Mm-hmm.
But then,
I mean, I think that you have to take it as a process. So it's a process. You are starting something new that's going to take time. The good thing is, like, every step that you're going, you have to measure it and see how it works. If you engage, continue doing it. If it doesn't engage, don't do it anymore. Sorry, I can't.
Okay. Chacho, yeah. I'm gonna last chance for a last question. Otherwise, we will finish. But I don't see any hands, so that's fine. Just to say that on the toolkit at the end as well, you have my email address. And yeah, just feel free to write me anytime, to contact me for any questions specific about the campaign. How can you join? If there's any technical issue that you may have, we will be there to support. And just to say that I'm very excited about this year's EDSC, and to see where it goes. As you said, like, it's a matter of evaluating at the end and trying to make an impact.
I hope so.
Thanks.
I let my email on the comments. If somebody wants to reach me for any question or help, I'm here. Okay.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks a lot, Chacho, and thanks everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
And we're in touch.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.